Hi, hello. Welcome to another episode of Isaiah's Newsstand. It's your host, Isaiah Edwards. The date is May the 12th, 2024. Hopefully, this episode finds you well, in good spirits, and high hopes. As for me, I'm doing pretty good. The Sunday's been going well so far, pretty chill, pretty relaxed. Let me start off by saying Happy Mother's Day to all the mamas out there. Hopefully, you are being doted on today. You're getting all the flowers, you're getting all of the yummy, yummy food, all that good stuff. Let's see here. As for me, like I said, yeah, I've been good, been solid. Last night was very, very fun. I went to Burrito Fest. It's this music comedy event that takes place every year, a little annual event, thrown by some really good, local people in the Northside area, and I don't, it was a fucking fun time. I know I shouldn't swear so early on, but whatever, I'm doing it. I don't care. Let's see here, just like I said, a lot of fun performances, a lot of just like high energy. The vibes are nice and right. And just getting into the food corner, of course, there were burritos. So many burritos. Um, the burrito I chose to get, my main one, was a chicken burrito with black and pinto beans, some sour cream, and then they had this spicy salsa that was really yummy. I will say I missed out on the pineapple ginger. I almost wanted to go back around for that one, but I didn't. And then I got some chips, so that was good. And then all my friends love me, so I got to eat all the little scraps like a little gremlin. So that was fun. Like I said, it was just a good time. It was nice seeing friends, hanging out with the homies. Yeah, last night was mad real, so it was a really good time. Let's see here. Like I said, bring us back to today. I did some grocery shopping. That went fine. Hunky dory, copacetic. A bit of a random, what is it? I want to say a side detour. I don't do this, but every once in a while, I feel like why not? I saw this newer candy, and I said, you know what? I haven't tried. What is this? It's this Swedish Fish blue raspberry lemonade. So I said, you know what? I'm gonna go ahead and try it. Not just try it. I'm gonna try it on the podcast. So let's see if I can get it open. Oh, of course. I should have just pre-opened it. Okay, there we go. Had to rip it. Let's see if these are any good. Try a couple of them, and then we'll get into our startup and get into some news after my review. I will say the thing about Swedish Fish that I don't like is that like they're good. Like the normal default Swedish Fish are yummy, but it's all one note. So the only time I really like that is like the Sour Patch Watermelon. Those are like kind of my faves in terms of just like if I'm only gonna get one kind of sour thing. I like variety. I think it's kind of nice. Let's try these. Okay, it definitely is giving blue raspberry. I'm catching the lemonade notes. Okay. I'm gonna do one more just for consistency's sake or whatever. Okay. Okay. These are definitely good. I would definitely finish this big bag. Um. Would I say they're better than the OG? I would say they are right on par. Oh, I'm gonna love that in my gums for the rest of this episode. Such a good call. Oh, I love it. I love podcasting. Anyway, let me do my startup. Start off? Startup. Let me do my startup. And let me do my stuff. And then we'll go ahead and get into some news. Ooh. Okay. Okay. We'll say that's not too bad with the wine. I will say that's the nice thing about having wine pairings is that's a little bit better with sour candy than, let's say, beer. And I usually don't have much to drink at the house these days. Um, More times than not, I'm either drinking water or I'm drinking alcohol, or maybe I might make like some coffee. That being said, though, on the weekdays, I drink like I am a like what 16-year old, and I have at least one Monster or a Nas a day. So there's that. Anyway, enough of me talking about my own fucking self. Let's go ahead and get into some news from the BBC. Man who received first pig kidney transplant dies. The first man to receive a genetically modified pig kidney transplant has died 2 months after the operation, the hospital which carried out the procedure has said. Rick Slayman, 62, was suffering with end-stage kidney disease before undergoing the operation in March. Massachusetts General Hospital, or MGH, said on Sunday there was no indication his death was a result of the transplant. Obviously it's very sad, the loss of Richard Slayman, but that is at least a silver lining in the sense of like it's most likely from another complication, another situation like he was struggling from. In addition to the kidney disease, Mr. Slayman also suffered from type 2 diabetes and hypertension. In 2018, he had a human kidney transplant, but it began to fail after 5 years. So, this is kind of common, unfortunately, that, you don't necessarily just go, okay, now you have to live forever or whatever, but it is something that gives you an extension of your life, and I think that that's always a good thing. I think it is important to celebrate and laud this milestone all the same. I don't think it takes away from it. But definitely, flowers and condolences to Mr. Slayman and, his family. I think it was a very brave thing to try something like this. I mean, granted, do you have really any options? Of course not. No, but to say, hey, I'm not going to give up here. I want to keep living. I want to keep fighting. And to take this option that is really bold and, dare I say, fucking revolutionary, goddammit. So, kudos to him and, Godspeed, all that shit. I don't know. Anyway, let's move on. Not that the news is getting much brighter, unfortunately, but it's of another variety. From the Associated Press, cruise ship sails into New York City port with 44-foot dead whale across its bow. A cruise ship sailed into New York City port with a 44-foot or 13-meter dead whale across its bow, marine authorities said. The whale, identified as an endangered sea whale, was caught on the ship's bow when it arrived at the port of Brooklyn on Saturday. National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration Fisheries spokesperson Andrea Gomez said. A spokesperson for MSC Cruises said the whale was on the MSC Meraviglia, which docked at Brooklyn before sailing to ports in New England and Canada. We immediately notified the relevant authorities, who are now conducting an examination of the whale, officials with the cruise line said in a statement. We are deeply saddened by the loss of any marine life, the officials said, adding that the Geneva-based MSC Cruises follows all regulations designed to protect whales, such as altering itineraries in certain regions to avoid hitting the animals. The dead whale was relocated to Sandy Hook, New Jersey, and towed to shore there to allow for better access to equipment to conduct a necropsy? I don't know. I can't say it right now. I'm going to blame that on the alcohol there. Necropsy? I'm really just going to have to stay with necropsy. I know I'm going to come back to this word later and be like, Isaiah, you fucking idiot. But yeah, definitely unfortunate. I could imagine that if you're on this ship, that would be very traumatic. That feels like a really big buzzkill to be like, wait, there's a what on the bow? But maybe it's maybe it wasn't that noticeable. I don't fucking know. I hadn't done too much research outside of just reading this article. I had just heard about this, and I was like, okay, I definitely wanted to cover this before the week's end if I can. So I wanted to get it in and talk about it. Obviously, it's unfortunate. We do love to see the wildlife thrive, and it's unfortunate when, we just have our shit, and then, you know, it fucks with their shit. You know, it definitely goes like, man, this didn't have to happen. You know, this is like human hubris, you know, interacting with the human, or with the, you know, the environment in a really negative way, yada, yada, yada. But yeah, you can also just chop it up to, you know, these things happen, I guess. I don't know what to say here. I don't want to get too deep today. But yeah, definitely unfortunate, definitely icky. But it was a thing that happened that I wanted to talk about. So here we are, yapping away. Let's move on to the next beat. From the Telegraph. The Afghanistan's only diplomat quits after being, or only female diplomat. Let me just rewind it. Let's just run it back. Afghanistan's only female diplomat quits after being caught smuggling gold worth 1.6 million euros, or not euros, pounds? I think it's pounds. It's pounds. These symbols always jam me up. I'm an American. I'm sorry. Afghanistan's only female diplomat has resigned days after she was caught by airport authorities allegedly smuggling nearly 1.6 million euros worth of gold into India. Zakia Wardak announced her resignation on social media after Indian media reported that she and her son had been stopped last month on arrival in Mumbai from Dubai carrying 25 kilograms of gold. Ms. Wardak is understood to have been appointed to India before the Taliban took control of Afghanistan in 2021 and was the Afghan consul general in Mumbai. She has been acting as the country's most senior representative in India since Afghanistan's embassy in New Delhi shut down in November. Ms. Wardak was reportedly not arrested when she was stopped because of her diplomatic immunity, but the gold was confiscated by India's Directorate of Revenue Intelligence. She made no reference to the gold in her resignation statement, but she said she had encountered numerous personal attacks and defamation over the past year. Such incidents have demonstrated the challenges faced by women in Afghan society, she said, adding, it has become increasingly clear that the public narrative is unfairly targeting the only female representative within the system rather than focusing on constructive assistance and support. Let's see. I'm going to read a little bit further here. Many Afghan diplomats remained loyal to the internationally backed government when Kabul fell, despite their administration having been swept away. They refused to cede official buildings and positions to the new Taliban emirate and have remained in post issuing visas and paperwork. The Taliban authorities have full control of only around a dozen of Afghan embassies abroad, including in Pakistan, China, Turkey, and Iran. Now, I'm saying all this because I wanted to say, like, look, I completely understand that she's not wrong in the statement that, like, for her and her situation and position, it is very tenuous. It is very, like, hard to have to deal with all the shit that you're having to go through. And it's like, look, in my country, I shouldn't even be having a job. I'm not even allowed to have a job. You know, like, according to the Taliban, I shouldn't be working. They want my position, you know, to be replaced by some other guy or man or whatever. But at the end of the day, it does look like she seems to be guilty of the crime of smuggling, you know, this gold. So, yeah, at the end of the day, I get it. You know, we all gotta get our fucking money. We all gotta get our bag. I've heard this story time and time again, either where you're coming to Dubai to launder some money or some kind of fucking currency or some kind of fucking thing, or you're coming from, you know, Dubai, you know, with said money or whatever. And in this situation, you got jammed up. You got caught. It's, in this case, it's very unfortunate. It's a jam. But yeah, I don't, I completely understand her, you know, kind of falling back on this kind of reasoning and this logic of like, hey, like, this is really fucked up, you know, this is slander, da 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 da. But at the end of the day, too, I also say it's like, well, it does look like she seems pretty guilty. But yeah, definitely an unfortunate situation all in all. But definitely, you know, good to kind of just talk about just a little bit of the situation in Afghanistan via this issue. So, you know, I don't mind doing that a little bit for a minute or so. And you know me, I love a good scam. I love a good grift. This falls into like money laundering, smuggling, whatever. So, you know, I'm definitely down to talk about this a little bit. But yeah, we'll call that covered there. By all means, if you want to go to the Telegraph, I had to get this actually through Yahoo News. Sometimes you know what I mean. You get a little paywalled or whatever, or they want to try to put you on a trial or what have you. I'm not with that, so I got it a little secondhand. But yeah, let's go ahead and get to our last news bump for today, and then we'll go ahead and close it out. Get back to our Sunday Fun Day action activity. Granted, I would love to be in your ear while you're doing said thing. That'd be great. That'd be funny. That'd be nice. Sometimes I do that. I will be at a social event sometimes, and I will be either listening to a podcast or I will like be watching a live stream until like my friends get to a function or whatever. Like, look, I ain't changing. I'm doing the same shit I'm doing indoors as I'm doing outdoors. Why not? Technology has given me that power. So, by all means, if I'm at your function, if I'm at your Mother's Day right now and you're listening to me, or I'm on your drive to the Mother's Day function, hell fucking yeah, dude. Fuck yeah. Anyway, and while we're at it, let's go ahead and take that last break, okay? Before we see Mama Bear, let's go ahead and toke up a little bit, maybe. You know what it is, you know. And, but we'll go ahead and close it out. Ooh. All right. From NPR. Switzerland's Nemo wins Eurovision 2024 in a year of protests. Switzerland has won this year's Eurovision Song Contest. Swiss rapper and singer Nemo's song, The Code, impressed both the jury and the public at the popular annual event held Saturday in Malmo, Sweden. It is the most insane thing that has ever happened to me, the 24-year-old vocalist said at the post event press conference. The Code explores the artist's non binary identity and a flamboyant mashup of opera, rap, drum, and bass and electronic dance music. I've only listened to like a snippet of the song, maybe after this I might take a full listen or something. It definitely is a lot all at once, but it's very cool. I think that's the fun thing about listening to international music is that you can just see like how just a completely other group of people can interpret like a genre or do genre bending, and it's very cool and it's very interesting. That being said, if I'm being completely honest with you, I talk about I've listened to coverage on Eurovision here and there, just doing my new little news, research, learning, whatever. It's not really my cup of tea per se. It's interesting to me. It almost feels like an America's Got Talent with like higher stakes. But it's cool, or you can say like an American Idol because like mainly the focus is about singing. But yeah, I really wanted to wind up talking about this shit, not just because of Nemo, but mainly just because of some of just the offshoot kind of controversy that had been building throughout, and figured I'd kind of just do this in a little bit of a recap. Security was tight for Israel's entrant Eden Golan. She received some boos and turned backs during her performance, but placed high at the event, coming in fifth with 375 votes. She had like a very, what some would say, moving song. A lot of it was like more or less referencing to like, or at least there were some references to October 7th. Though I think that they kind of had her like maybe trim that down or admit it or something. Like especially there's like, even a clause where it's like you can't publicly protest or get political in a song if you're on the live like demo or the live performance. I think there was another contestant that did do a little bit of a protest political thing, and they're in a little bit of hot water. But the gray area was they weren't live on a performance. So are they okay there? Maybe not. But going a little bit further in the article, thousands of protesters opposed to Israel's war in Gaza rallied in the Malmo Arena in the days leading up to the finals. calling for Israel's disqualification. Meanwhile, Dutch contestant Joost Klein was disqualified just hours before the finals began over a complaint lodged by a female production team member. Police said they are investigating. Now, finding out what that was, essentially, I believe the female production team member was like some sort of cameraman or something, and he was like upset about their proximity to him or something, and made like a I guess a threatening gesture towards them, like maybe like a flinching motion. I don't know the details, but essentially that was enough where they said, hey, this guy kind of feels like a risk. You know, the person doesn't feel safe, so we're gonna go ahead and act and disqualify him. That led to Dutch journalists and other, you know, like I guess Dutch peoples protesting and being upset about that. So this Eurovision was pretty fraught with a little bit of controversy. I feel like I might have covered a little bit of Eurovision maybe before in the past, but that would have been like during the Ukraine stuff, because Ukraine was kind of like getting a lot of buzz because they were involved in Eurovision, and they kind of got a big boost in that situation. I think they won one, right? And then after that, they couldn't host the Eurovision, so they had to host it like in another place, and yada yada yada. But yeah, there you go. There's a little bit of a Eurovision international coverage there. I don't usually talk about that shit, but I figured, hey, why not? Kind of hit the notes that we've been kind of talking about a lot lately on the podcast, so why not? But yeah, we'll go ahead and call it there. Feels like a good way to wrap it up. Thank you so much for tuning in. Thank you so much for being a friend, and hopefully I see you soon for some more good news. I love ya. Bye-bye. Mwah.